You're listening to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast.
When your heart is aching and your world is shaking, don't give up. No, don't give up.
Hello and welcome to Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. I'm your host, Jana Short, and we are back for our final episode with Sherianna Boyle. Sherianna is the author of 9 books, including her most recent Emotional Detox Now, 135 Practices to Renew the Mind, Heart, and Body. And I am not going to keep reading her beautiful bio because we've read it 3 times. It's going to be in the show notes, and I don't want to take up any more space because we are talking about solutions for emotional eating. And if you have not listened to episodes 1, 2, and 3, go back because they are filled with incredible insights, explanations. Like you're going to walk out being able to, I don't know, change the world or at least change yourself, which is the most important change you can make. So Sherianna, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
I am super excited. You can recap a little teeny bit if you want in this final one and just talk a little bit about the 3 key things that we just discussed in your previous episodes.
Sure. So we started out with what is emotional eating, right? When you're turning to food as a way to manage stress or a negative, usually it's a negative emotion that the research shows that we're managing. There are causes for that. It's not your fault, right? So don't blame yourself. A lot happens when we're growing up, and a lot happens genetically too. So quit blaming yourself because there are specific causes that contribute to it, and also complicate things and exasperate things. And so we gave you a little gentle wake up call in one of those episodes, and then it's about learning about connection. Right. And that's think of the opposite of emotional eating is connection, learning to be connected to yourself, learning to be connected to what you feel, your emotions. It's okay to have needs, right? No matter who you are and to learn how to express them. It's a lot easier to express your needs when you allow yourself to feel. When you don't allow yourself to feel and you suppress them through food or whatever you do. And very often we do more than one thing, by the way. It's not just eating. We have multiple ways that we suppress what we feel. Then you're simultaneously suppressing your needs because you're making it harder on yourself to express, what do you need? Do you need more support? Do you need time alone? Do you need space? What do you need? Do you need to be hugged? Who knows? But all of us have needs, each and every one of us. That you're never going to outgrow that. I'm sorry, but you won't. So this leads us to the solutions part. And I do want to bring up the heart rate variability thing because I don't believe I shared this study. So there was a study on heart rate variability in terms of food. And what it showed, and heart rate variability just means your ability to have your heart goes up and your heart goes down. And that's a healthy heart. We want it to be able to escalate and we want it to be able to go down. That's what cardio does when you do exercise, right? You get your heart beating and then we want that heart rate coming down. We don't want it to stay up here. So what they showed with people who are emotional eaters is that heart rate variability went up and it stayed up when they asked them to resist a sweet.
Oh, my heart rate just went. I am a total sweet eater, so I totally get that.
Which is very different from some other types of addictive behaviors because with alcohol, people's heart rates actually go down, right? So when they return to alcohol, so so when they were told to resist the sweet, say no to the sweet, the heart rate went up. So then what happens? Well, you have to manage the heart rate. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. How do I deal with the fact my heart is racing? I'm in a social situation, my heart is racing. Well, it would make sense you turn to food, right? Let me just eat something and that will help bring me down a little bit because food can do that. There are some situations where there are some foods you can eat that will help you get grounded, that will actually bring calming. Look at turkey. I know you don't eat plant, but meat, but we know that turkey has something that calms us down, makes us sleepy, right? So, anyway, that's another reason why sometimes people reach for the food. But in terms of solutions, there's going to be not just one, there's going to be several. One is you got to really have your heart rate variability. You have to work with that. So that means exercise is important, I believe, because it teaches you how to escalate your heart and how to bring it down. And you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to burn yourself out, but it's important to get some movement, some energy moving, whether it's a brisk walk or riding a bike or just who knows, you just do what brings you joy, but definitely move your body every single day. A lot of times there's some pent up emotions there. They just need some they need an outlet. It's like children who sit for a long, they need an outlet. They have to go out, they have to run, they have to play. So do adults. We have to play too, right? We have to get out there. We have to have fun and have some lightheartedness in our lives. And again, so that's important. The other thing is breathing, like you mentioned, Jana, 3-part breath, which is in yoga. It's really learning how to breathe from the lower half of your belly, from your diaphragm. And there's a lot of research on that 3-part breath and how it really, really helps bring down your nervous system. It helps activate the parasympathetic nervous system. It tones the vagus nerve very nicely. It has to be done regularly though. So you just breathe in nice and slow, inflate your belly. Don't worry about having it be a huge breath in the beginning. Just maybe count a little bit. So you breathe in 1, 2, 3, breathe out through 3, 2, and 1. And then kind of slow that down. Breathe in 1, 2, 3, and you're inhaling, inflating your belly, and exhale 3 and 2 and 1. Bring that navel back. And then you might stretch it out to 5 counts. But the whole point is being consistent with the breathing. And then I like to sit and pause after I breathe, because that your emotions they start talking, and you start feeling them, and they start really revealing what they are. And they're designed to make you feel better, not worse, when they're being processed, when they're in motion. So they have a frequency, their vibration, then their language is vibration, right? And so when you give yourself permission to feel, your vibration gets stronger, and it becomes almost like resiliency. You have like a bubble, right? And you're less susceptible to picking up negativity. You're less susceptible to making choices that aren't good for you, right? Self-sabotage. We didn't even talk about that, right? So, I mean, that would be something. Sometimes we turn to food. Sometimes it's self-sabotage. And that's okay, right? What matters is that you recognize it and you clear it. Right? And again, sometimes we watch people growing up self-sabotage. Right? We've learned it and they were good at it, right? You're like, wow, they were pretty good at that. So these simple mindful techniques, like Jana was saying, the chewing, the mindfulness, getting outside, I think in nature is an essential, to, even if it's just 10 minutes, to take a little walk, even if it's just getting your mail, and things like progressive muscle relaxation. Do you ever do that, Jana?
No, I don't. I don't even know what that is.
So it's basically when you squeeze your fists really, really tight, and you tighten your face and you tighten your whole body, and you hold, and then you release, and you can feel the blood flow. It's like a tourniquet, right? And then you release it, and so you can do that. There's a lot of studies on progressive muscle relaxation, PMR. You squeeze really hard, and then you release all that tension. Just like you're squeezing sand, and then you release and let the sand fall out of your hands. Sometimes we're hanging on so tight. We want something so bad. And the thing that's getting in the way is we're hanging on too tight. It's not the thing. It's the fact that, we're clinging, and we are attached, And sometimes you just, the best thing you can do is just learn to just kind of loosen your grip and start to trust a little bit and have faith in yourself. Wouldn't you agree, Jana?
I totally would agree with you. One of the things that keeps popping into my head while you're talking about all this is how much time we actually spend every day thinking about food. Like thinking about breakfast, lunch, and dinner, snacks for the kids, for the husband, like shopping list. I know that because I have such an issue with eating that I am over it. And when someone says, "Where do you want to eat?" I don't care. But you have to eat specific things. I'll find something to eat wherever we go. I just cannot think about it anymore. I'm trying to clear some of the space out of my brain that's wrapped around what meal I'm going to cook. Like even Thanksgiving, I'm already thinking about what we're going to serve at Thanksgiving and looking up recipes. I honestly wonder if anyone's ever done a study on how much time in every day does the average person think about food?
That's great. I mean, and that would be something that you could easily cleanse.
Yeah. I
So there's
definitely need to cleanse
feelings,
that out.
right? I mean, that is and when I'm preoccupied, because it does preoccupy you and it requires energy, right? A lot of thinking and planning. So planning can sometimes interfere with processing. That's what I find. Plan, plan, plan. And if I'm doing so much planning, am I actually blocking myself from feeling something? So it's not that you're never going to plan again, but how about you reverse it and process first and then see what happens?
I love that tip, by the way. I can't even watch cooking shows because it's more cooking in my brain and food. And I'm so over it. Like, I don't know how people watch those for hours and hours and not think about food all day long.
Yeah, and the presentation, and it's really, I mean, it is like an art. I think for some people, it's a hobby. It's a passion, and that's a little bit different. But when it gets to the point where it's like I'm just doing it so I can take an Instagram picture of it, that's different. Right?
So here's what I love about this series that you've done. Food isn't going anywhere. We need it to survive. It's all around us. We probably spend a big part every day thinking about it in some way.
Yes.
And if you are more aware of the way you're thinking about it, you're more conscious on how you're following others' leads, and you're paying attention to like your heart rate. Am I breathing? Like, am I hydrated? Am I hungry or am I thirsty? Like there's so many things connected to food that if we're just aware of it, we learn a few of these beautiful solutions that Sherianna has shared with us, you can change your whole experience and those around you.
Absolutely. And it's a matter of allowing yourself to sit with something and imagining. So it's not just breathing in, breathing out, but also getting to the place where you can begin to imagine what connection feels like. Imagine what grounded feels like. So when I say imagine, it's not just visual. There's a visual imagination. There's, if you hear it, what would it sound like to be grounded, to feel safe, to feel calm, to feel secure? But then there's what would it smell like? What would the sense on my skin be? Where would I be? And just the process is really getting to that place. So I release all the reactions. So whether it's planning or worrying or obsessing. So once you release those reactions, which that's what we do when we cleanse, then your emotions start to process. Then that opens up the doorway for what it's like to feel calm, to feel content, to feel happy. And you start to live in that space. And remember, with emotional eating, it's really about the negative emotions. We don't tend to, right, turn to food for positive emotions. We tend to do it for the more negative, like the sad and the lonely and the bored and things like that. So the more you can spend time with those higher vibrational emotions, but you have to create them, and they're already in you. And you don't get rid of anger, you transform it. So you take the same energy of anger, and once you start to process it, it's like baking a cake, it turns into something else. And then you learn to spend time with happiness. You learn to spend time with peacefulness. And then isn't that what matters, Jana, when you're with your family anyway? I mean, are they really going to remember the damn casserole?
Well, they
Are
will
they-
if it was bad. Really bad.
Maybe if it's a family, recipe, they'll remember it. It'll have emotion to it. But really, they're going to remember how it felt to be together and what the stories and the laughter. That's really what they're going to take away.
So if those of you have not caught on to the real thing that Sherianna is a genius at, is getting the world feeling again. That is her motto, is to get millions of people feeling again. And it seems so weird that we all are like, well, I get angry, I get mad, but we really do not connect to those feelings. Like they're just fly by, right? It just process really quickly and we miss it. Even if it's an anger, we miss it. Like we miss what that connection to that feeling really is. And that's what you're kind of a genius at. And now you're doing that through this series on emotional eating and how we start really connecting to what that emotion is and what it is we're trying to do with that. So I think you're amazing. Tell everyone where they can connect with you, get your new book.
Thank you. So my new book's Emotional Detox Now, and it's available at all bookstores. It's on my website, emotionaldetoxnow.com. And that's where you can jump on board and you can become a part of the community. We have a way that you can just join for free and get access to some of the emotional detox content. Or you can jump in the community and start trying out a cleanse, or you can join a course. I'm going to be doing the emotional eating detox course. And then we got the summit, Jana. It's been busy, but it's come out fabulous. I'm so proud of it. And it's all about feeling again. That's the purpose. It's not just the content, it's the intention. And the intention of the summit is to get people feeling again. And trust me, after these episodes and that summit, you will be feeling.
I love it because I know a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to feel. You do. Like that's what life is all about. Even the icky feelings, like enjoy them, experience them, move through them, learn from them. That's the whole process of it. So if you guys haven't caught on already, this is a 4-part series and you can go back and listen to the other 3 parts where Sherianna is going to talk to you about what emotional eating is. She's going to talk to you a little bit about the consequences and stress response. And she's going to go over the importance of connection, which is so important to emotional eating. And then, of course, her solutions. Sherianna, this has been amazing. I'm super excited. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Oh My Health, There Is Hope podcast. Make sure to visit Jana's website, bestholisticlife.com, where you can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Google Play, or listen there, so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in the show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or if you simply tell a friend about the show. That'll help too. Let's change the world together, one health expert at a time. Looking forward to seeing you next time.